Hello, bros, hoes, and cream betweens. I really should think of a new name for you guys because I can't keep calling you hoes. I'll think about it later. Anyways, do you ever find yourself doom scrolling on Pinterest, Instagram, or Note, wherever there's art, looking at the pretty drawings and thinking to yourself, why can't I draw like that? Why can't I be that consistent in my style? Why is half the art on Pinterest AI? Worry not, because I have two. And honestly, I still occasionally still think like that. But you will worry not no more, future best-selling artists. I will show you the ways of how I found my art style and how you can too in these hopefully simple steps. A small disclaimer before we actually get into the video: you do not need to follow the advice I give you to a T. Art is very flexible. There's no right and wrong way to do something. These are just the things I found that were helpful and I applied when I was a baby artist. And so I hope it could be helpful for you guys too. Okay. Put your pitchforks down. Let me get 2 sentences in before you start going on about tracing art is bad. Copying and tracing art can actually be really helpful to learn how to draw. It's a good way to get your foot in the door. When I first started art, I copied different pieces that I really liked and went from there. Always make sure the art you're looking at isn't AI. AI often has really fucked anatomy and consistency, which isn't what you want to replicate. So I would recommend finding trusted artists on Instagram, Twitter, or just honestly look up a character's name and type fan art after it. Avoid Pinterest if you're not good at spotting AI, though the comments will sometimes tell you if it is. When you do this, it is very important that you do not post the work that you've created because it is not your original artwork. You've copied, you've traced it, therefore you do not have the right to post it as though if it's yours. Tracing art can be like training wheels. It'll help you to understand the basic concept of drawing whatever you want to draw. From tracing, you can go to copying art, which will force your brain to try and draw on its own without something to trace over. You can bounce back from either one until you feel more confident drawing on your own. Remember, during this time, sometimes the art that you will make won't be exactly what you were hoping for, and that's completely alright. Learning how to draw is a process. It takes loads of time, sometimes years, and if you're starting to not have fun, then just take a step back and take a break. And honestly, that's one of the best things you can do. You don't have to keep forcing yourself to draw. Learning how to draw, it'll just make you burn out even faster and probably hate drawing. I'd say this one feeds into the first one. If you have favorite artists, copy from those guys. Having favorite artists are pretty important because they will likely play into your style later on. For this, line up your favorite artists. For example, I'll use some baseline favorites of mine: Gege Akutami, Sui Ishida, and Nagabe. What you want to do is sit down and really think about the reasons why you like each artist. For example, I like Gege Akutami's art because it has a really sketchy and loose feel. I like Sui Ishida's art because of the amazing lighting and watercolory feel and the semi-realism along with how he picks colors. I love Nagabe's art because, like Gege's art, it's very sketchy, loose, and it has sort of a storybook feeling to it that I just really love. Now, what you'll want to do is find similarities between those artists and the reasons. I'm sure you can tell from my reasons there's an underlying similarity: sketchy, hand-drawn, and watercolory feel. Take aspects that you like from each of those drawings and try to incorporate them in one big drawing. For example, I'd render and use lighting like Ishida because I like the way he does it. I like Gege's sketches and the way he draws eyes, hands, fingers, etc., so I'd incorporate that. And use Nagabe's line weight and hatching and storybook feel to enhance that art. Now just apply those same things onto your favorite artist and you'll have kind of your own original style, sort of, that you'll be trying to enhance, improve, and retouch upon as you continue your art journey. This one won't really help you find a style, but it'll lay a groundwork for your future art and techniques and anatomy. Yes, you still need to learn anatomy, even if you're going to draw something really stylized. In fact, it's recommended by almost anyone. It helps you learn where everything will go, how long everything should be, the certain placements and proportions of the face, body, feet, limbs, etc., etc. Then you can start stylizing it a bit more, and everything will be in the right place because you learned where everything should go, and your drawing won't look like an uncanny Gacha Club character. You can also practice different poses and with a direct god damn it, with the direct reference and get more comfortable with that and your anatomy before you start drawing poses from your noodle brain. Now, I have been drawing with references for as long as I can remember, and that's really what sort of saves my art, because otherwise my art looks like nothing. As I've continued down my art journey, I find myself being able to diverge from that reference and add my own things to it, and sometimes now I'm just able to draw from my brain. Editing Koro here. 3 weeks later, I can actually basically completely draw from my brain, so I don't necessarily need to rely on a reference anymore. So yeah, I improved a lot, which is great, and that's only because I've been drawing from references. I sort of understand now the anatomy of a person. I know where everything should be, I know how everything should look, and so I'm now able to draw from my noodle. And one day you will be too. People's least favorite thing to do: repeating something until you want to jump out of a window. Unfortunately, it has to be done. To have an art style is to be consistent, and to have consistency, it is to keep repeating until you can do it in your sleep. It might seem pointless, but when you keep doing something over and over and over, you'll learn to memorize how you draw whatever you're drawing quicker than if you only draw it once. The goal with repetition is to be consistent. When repeating how to draw something, if you keep flip-flopping around from how you draw bodies, eyes, mouths, anything in all your drawings, then you'll never have a style. Of course, it's okay to experiment once in a while and deviate from that, but if you really want to have a style, you have to be consistent. Once in a while, feel free to explore different ways to draw things, like eyes, muscles, noses, from different artists. It can be any artist that you like. Watch tutorials, look at manga books, scroll Instagram, see what small things you like and incorporate them into your art. Of course, this circles back to the first 2 tips, but as you continue down your art journey, you might find yourself deviating from those original favorite artists and want to explore and experiment more. I did this in the last video where I tried different eye tutorials. There's no shame in changing things later on. And don't forget, if you want to incorporate it into your style, pull up a little doodle canvas and repeat the same thing you learned in different angles, colors, etc., etc. Maybe if you want to add more details, whatever, just keep repeating and trying it. Now, this is a small tip. When you're trying to be consistent, it's alright to reference your own art and even trace some aspects of it. I used to do that quite frequently until I myself became more consistent with how I draw. I wouldn't rely on it too much, but use it as a sort of training wheels. And that, everybody, were the most important tips that I've picked up and that have helped me throughout my art journey. I hope that some of them can help you, and I wish everybody luck on their art journey. Oh, and if I come across any more helpful tips, I will probably be doing another video about it or a little short video about it. I hope to be seeing you in my next video. Goodbye.